Straight to
Welcome to another episode of The Perspective. I'm TiffanyLaShon. I'm so excited for our guest that we have here today. I have one of the baddest hair colors in Houston with us, sharing her story on insecurities. I want you to welcome with me the Miss Janae Miller of Janae Miller Salon.
Thank you so much for having me.
Welcome. So I'm excited, guys. We know that everybody deals with insecurities on some level at some point in their life. And for her to be willing to come and share her story with us is exciting, and also a way for us to open up and get you to understand that having insecurities doesn't make you non-human. It doesn't make you not popular. It makes you human. And so we're excited to have her share her story with us. So welcome, and we're excited.
Thank you. In my childhood, I battled with insecurity at a very, very young age, even starting as young as elementary school. And a lot of times people probably don't think that even young children notice, how different they are, whether it's in school or with their family members. And it really started off with my family, my genes. I have a mother who's very, very, what I would call light skin. She's gorgeous, very recessive genes. And from there, at a very young age, I used to ask my mom, like, why do I look so different from you? And my mom used to always call me beautiful and reinforce that I was beautiful. However, it still was something that I carried with me going into middle school and going into high school. I remember in middle school, I used to hide behind like the biggest jackets, and I used to wear like the hugest bang in front of my face to try to hide my insecurities. And going into high school, it was the same thing. And later on, in my later teen years and being a young adult, I found myself really getting into a very depressing stage of my life. There were many things that happened. I mean, I was married very young, and I was still comparing myself to the beautiful women in the magazines, and I found myself actually coming into an eating disorder. And one of the things I really wanted to share is a lot of people don't believe that African American women can battle eating disorders. A lot of times people shun, psychological issues or feel as if, this is just crazy. And at the time, I was scared to even share with people because I felt like who would understand it. So I was really by myself with it. And as I've grown older, I've had a great support group with those I felt I could share that with. But now I feel more liberated to kind of tell my story because I am becoming a woman. I'm 30 years young by the grace of God, and I'm finally learning myself and learning how to accept who God has created me to be.
That's good. I want to stop you right there. Learning to accept who God has created you to be. So you said as a young girl, it started young. Your mother's light skinned, and maybe you're a darker skin tone than mom, and maybe even other women in the family or other people in the family. Let's just say that. And tell us what it was like as a young girl, having a mom who said, you're beautiful. Every day she told you you're beautiful. And on in some way, you decided in your mind, or your mind told you that you're not the beautiful girl that your mom said that you were, and how your skin tone maybe played a role in that.
Well, I truly believe that, the enemy, which I believe is Satan, I'm a Christian, tries to make us feel less than. So even though my mom told me that, even though my family told me that, even though I knew who I was, I mean, I was a little immature, but still, I knew I loved Jesus, but it's still, Satan still attacked me in that. So I had to fight with that. It took a while for me to get in scripture, to pray, and to really find my identity in not just the natural, but in the spiritual of whose I was. And so that has helped me with my journey. And I believe we all have a thorn in our side somehow, some way, but we just have to know that we can go to Christ and we can pray, and we keep a very strong support group around us to make sure that we're not attacked when we're alone.
That's good. So go back to that girl in high school who wore the big jackets, who was afraid to show her beauty because she was so insecure about it and she wasn't sure of it. I want you to look at the camera, and I want you to talk to the young girls who are now, because I truly believe that our beauty is, we're afraid of our beauty. We're afraid to show our beauty for whatever reason, knowing that you're beautiful, or understanding your beauty. Until you really understand who you are, and like you say, whose you are, it's difficult to say, okay, I'm this beautiful woman, and here I am. So I want you to talk to these young girls in high school now who are still trying to find themselves. And unfortunately, a lot of them are not hiding their beauty in this day. They're showing all of their beauty.
Social media.
So I want you to talk to those girls and tell them what real beauty is.
Real beauty, and I know as cliche as it sounds, but it's your spirit.
Yeah.
You know, it's skin deep. It's deeper than what you do aesthetically, from what you wear, what you look like. You can have all of the transformations in the world. I'm in the beauty industry, so of course that's kind of like due to my past, that would be like the worst.
Exactly.
But God had a reason for putting me in this field.
Yeah.
So, you know, we just have to realize that it is our spirit, from your personality, how you treat people, is what will set you apart in this culture, especially when you have such access to, especially social media.
Yeah.
You know, that's one of the things that it can be a blessing, but can also be a tool that can be used for wickedness. When you compare yourself to these edited photos and to, I mean, plastic surgery, I don't talk bad about it because you never know who gets it, but it's just so much in our face to where you almost have these unrealistic ideals of what beauty actually is.
Yeah.
And so for those high school girls, and even if it's women my age, if you are still feeling as if you're not good enough, know that you're good enough, and know that how you carry yourself, as long as you have that light within, I say my light is Jesus, the person and the people who really see you from the spirit will understand that's where true beauty lies, not from what's on the outside.
That's so good, so good. So talk to us about where you are now, how you got to the point to accepting your beauty and realizing that Janae as her own person was as beautiful as she is.
Ooh. To be honest, it's a daily journey.
Absolutely.
Every day, I have to die to my flesh. I still struggle. And to sit here and to say that I do not battle that at all would be disingenuous. But again, I have to keep focusing on that same foundation, whose I am, and being around those who keep reinforcing those positives in my life, which I think, who you surround yourself with is very important, and being by yourself and secluding yourself from the world can actually be dangerous.
Absolutely.
So, those are the things that I'm learning as I grow into the woman that God has me to be.
That's good. And what would you say to the person who doesn't have someone telling them they're beautiful, telling them they're smart, telling them all the things that you had your mom telling you? What would you say to that person? What would be a go-to that you could say that would help them in that particular time? Well,
I could say right now, you're beautiful, you're smart, you're exactly the way God has made you to be, and you have a purpose. No one can be exactly like you. God doesn't want us to be a replica of anybody else. So don't think that you have flaws that doesn't make you fit in with the rest of the people, because that thing that you think is a flaw is the main thing that's going to set you apart and what God will use. So if you don't have anybody in your life, listen to this video here and to know that you were created with a purpose and you are beautiful in the sight of Jesus Christ.
So good, so good. So last thing, let's talk about insecurity one more time. Insecurities can come from so many different places. Yours was skin tone. Somebody may say my eyebrows aren't thick, or my hair isn't as thick as hers or as long as theirs, or even males may deal with insecurities. I'm not as tall as this guy, or I'm not as buff as this guy. Whatever an insecure man may deal with, or insecure person, what would you say to them? Who would you say that they should look at as they're comparing themselves? What would you say their target should be?
Themselves. I mean, look in the mirror and know that you are, you're perfect just the way you are.
Absolutely.
So we shouldn't compare ourselves to anybody, because that's the damaging part.
That's it.
We continue to compare ourselves. So be content in your growth. Be content with, if you were let's say, for example, you were a smoker and you wish you didn't smoke anymore. And let's say you put the cigarette down for 2 days and you used to pick it up every day. That's progress.
Absolutely.
You know, so just be content with your progress and know that you are making strides to grow and to be a better person in life. And so that would be my advice.
Absolutely.
Be content.
So good. So we want to thank Janae Miller for coming and sharing her story with us. It's so important, guys, that you realize and know that insecurities happen to us all. At some point in our life, you will compare yourself. But what you need to do is go back and make sure that you're aware of who you are. And once you know who you are, once you can deal with what you look like, then insecurities will have no place in your life. And you can go day by day, step by step, saying, I am all that God created me to be. I am all that I should be. Because we know God doesn't make mistakes, right? And we know that we're created in His image. And since we are created in His image, we definitely want to take the insecurities and let them know, hey, we know by the blood of Jesus Christ, we win, right?
We have no place here.
Absolutely, absolutely. So we thank you guys. We hope that you've enjoyed this episode of The Perspective, and we'll see you next time.